welcome to the live. Quick one today. I was just reading something earlier about supplementation. I've done videos on this before. It's getting a bit warmer, by the way, so nice weather. Anyway, yeah, I've done videos on supplementation before, whether it's supplements, treatments, whatever. Um, I've seen this a lot. Like, if, let's say, there's someone that like is out of shape and they want to get in shape or lose some fat, build some muscle, because that's what you should be doing. You should be trying to build a good body composition because it supports your health. Basically, you just feel a lot better, and it's just everything. You know, you'll live longer, you'll feel better, you'll have more energy. So changing your body composition is, you know, if you've got a bad body composition, if you're either overweight or skinny fat or whatever, it's the same thing. You've got a bad balance between the amount of lean mass and the amount of body fat, and you want to change that. You want really quite a bit of lean mass and low body fat, reasonable low body fat. And there's like percentages, like for overall health. You don't want to be an absolute meathead bodybuilder, which, you know, you don't need too much lean mass. And you also don't want too low body fat. This kind of extreme of having ridiculous amounts of muscle and sub 10% body fat is just not sustainable for long-term health. So there's a proportion, you know what I mean? You want a reasonable, I always think that you want to go for that sort of aesthetic V-taper physique with a reasonable amount of muscle, but not too much, so much that it starts to get in the way of your mobility and things like that. But you want to be strong, you want a reasonable amount of muscle mass, and you want to keep around about 15% body fat, right? Between 12 and 15 is absolutely ideal. Any lower than that you can do, you know, when you just want that kind of summer low body fat for the beach or whatever, that's fine, but you can't, it's not sustainable all year round unless you're a genetic freak. Now, if you're not like that, and let's say your body composition's all over the place, then basically jump into, I'm going to call it quick fixes, whether it's like getting on peptides or, you know, TRT or anything like this, is basic. Like, because I've seen guys just jump straight on TRT when they've never even, hi, welcome to live, when they've never even tried to even build any kind of body composition. I'm going to call it, well, it's natural, but I'd say it's organic. So any kind of organic growth is just a lot more sustainable, you know. Jumping on TRT because you can't be asked going to the gym, or you can't be asked eating right. It's more on the food, to be honest, because you can't be asked getting the diet right. It's just it's kind of going for quick fixes, which I don't condone. And things like you know, you've got peptides, they're really good, right? Peptides do work, but they only work on already optimized humans, and it's the same for any kind of supplement. If you're looking at your supplements properly, supplementation only works when you're already optimized. There's like a pyramid, isn't there? And if you think about it, at the very bottom, it literally is, you know, the biggest part of your health is sleep, diet, and adequate exercise, not over exercising, and that's it. Your diet accounts for, I would say, 85% of it, right? The rest is like sleep and training, you know what I mean? Sleep probably a bit more, actually. Sleep is so important because that's when you recover. But when you're going in the gym, you know, you're not building muscle in the gym when you're working out. You're just stimulating the muscle. All the building comes later in the rest and recovery and your diet. You know what I mean? And you see this, like the big difference, you know, if guys are going in the gym and they're working their bollocks off, maybe they're getting strong, you know, bench press, very, very big bench press, but the body composition's still shy. It's usually the diet that's the problem. And I've done loads of content on diet. I've got whole playlists. If you look on my channel, I've got a whole playlist with recipes. I've even got a diet plan. There's a link down below which you can go and look at. If you just eat that stuff, it's basically just eggs, meat, fish, you know, like beef, chicken, whatever, fish, eggs, like meat and salad or meat and veg just on rotate like that. And that's all you have to do. Just eat whole foods, simple, right? Just eat that on rotate and your body composition will just get right, and it becomes easy. I always think that it isn't easy, you know what I mean? It can take you years, but once you get a body composition that's reasonable, it's so easy to maintain. The only way you can fuck it up is go back on the takeaways and all that stuff, you know what I mean? But you're not going to get there. There's no flipping magic pill. There's no like special flipping wonder drug or wonder supplement that's going to just like sort you out. You know, and also I always think that there's and let's say you go on TRT or something like this, just because you can't be asked, you know, doing it correctly, optimizing yourself first. I think things like TRT, very good for people that need it, only for people that need it when they've tried to optimize naturally, and they've tried to be organic and everything, and just optimize naturally. And they put in the work and they've got so far and they just want to go to the next level. I think that's fine. And it's like any supplement. Supplements are great when you've already optimized yourself. If you haven't, that's where you should start, just because you're going to get the biggest benefits. I don't believe in quick fixes. Let's say the quick fix works. I think that's like an unearned benefit as well. There's something there. It's always like, it's like anything. Like, I don't play the lottery. I've never wanted to play the lottery. I mentioned videos before. I nearly won once. The only time I've ever played a lottery was when I used to work at a place, and I was in a syndicate, and some guy had come round like on a whatever, like Friday afternoon or whatever, and asked you to put £2 in this syndicate. So I did it. It was a Euro Millions, about 80 odd million or something, and we got. I think we got, is there 7 numbers? And we got 6 right, and the 7th number might have been a bonus ball or whatever. And I think we had 41 and it was 43. So it was that close to winning the 80 odd million. We did get a payout. I think it was like, I got about, was it 7.5 grand or something? But anyway, that's by the by. I don't play the lottery because that's the nearest I ever got to winning the lottery. I've never played it since. I don't play the lottery because I've always thought, I'd rather earn money. I'd rather earn my money than just be giving it. And I think, you know, there's something about that. It's like goes back to the identity that I always talk about. If somebody, let's say you got a shit body composition, and then somebody just hands it to you on a plate. I mean, there's a few problems with that. First, you haven't earned it. Like, it's unearned, as in, so you've got a misalignment with your identity, which is like, you know, your identity is to be that lazy fat bastard or whatever, that person that isn't doing it right. That's your identity. And then somebody just hands you this fucking physique. You've got a misalignment with your identity, and very quick you'll go back to where you were, because that's not who you really are. So it's important to sort of have that identity and then live in accordance with it. Practice the good rituals, routines and habits that are in alignment with that identity. So if you give yourself an identity of, I'm this person that, you know, is always healthy, always eating right, blah blah blah, going to, you know, I'm this person with this physique, you've got to live that way. And then you've got a match between, because an identity is like, it's like a visualization, right? It's a flipping it's it's like a visualization. It's the mental part, focus of on your goal, and then you got the aligned action. The two come together. So you got a misalignment. That's the first problem. So you'll quickly go back to where you was, and then the second part of it, I would say, if someone just hands you that body, is oh, my brain's gone blank. That's the main one, the identity. So I wouldn't do it, to be honest. I always think that, like, you know, right. So shortcuts of any kind, um, there are always problems with it. Like, if you, let's say you went down the route of taking TRT and peptides, as opposed to like naturally fixing your body composition. I think you've got health problems there waiting to catch up with you, you know, because I think if you jump to that and you haven't fixed your hormones, then that's just a fucking time bomb. What happens if you come off, you know, I think you're just wrecking your endocrine system even more rather than trying to fix it first and then optimizing. And I just think you'll end up with like severe problems. See guys like in the 20s going on TRT because they can't be asked doing it right for health, and it's nuts. Like me, I've never done it. I've always been 100% natural, right? And I'm obviously, if you're natural, you're not going to be absolutely huge. When I was in my 20s, I used to be a bit of a meathead. I was naturally strong, and the only thing I had was like creatine and you know, took vitamins and stuff like this. But you only get so far. But I was pretty good. And these days, you know, I'm in my 40s, so I'm like, you know, still natural, but I've still got decent testosterone. You know what I mean? Every time I check, it's like high. And this is because I'm doing all those basics, like, you know, sleep, diet, training. You got to train intelligently, but the diet is huge, right? And that's why I always go on about it. So I'll go and have a look at my diet plans. I've done lots on like different breakfasts. On my channel, there's like a diet and meals playlist, something like this. And then there's also down in the description, if you click the description of this live, I've put a link to my diet plans and recipes. And that diet plans and recipes, I've actually developed it further now into like a book. And it's going to be like an ebook, which I'm just sort of getting it designed now, nicely polished, and it's going to be sold with. Sorry, not sold. You'll get it free if you buy my journal. So it's one of the digital downloads that you will get with the journal. So that's good. But for now, my diet plans and recipes page on my website will help you out. Have a look at some of them recipes. They're also, this is a life skill that you should develop, right? Having control over your diet is a life skill that will save you a lot of pain. Learning how to cook, like all the things that I cook, they all take like 20 minutes, really fast to do, and they give you high protein for low overall calories. And you'll have a look, I always put like the amount of calories in each one of these meals, and you'll get like, you know, 50 grams of protein for like 500 calories, which means you can eat them 4 times a day, smash your protein goals, and still be in a calorie deficit, which is pretty amazing. And if you just do that, if you just eat like that, on those, like the piss take one, the gourmet beef, you know, it's just beef and veg, and just keep eating that, or eggs or something, right? Like the eggs and salmon that I do. It will sort you, but it just makes your training so much easier and sorts your body composition out. Because when you go in the gym, you can't out-train a poor diet. And I also think that, like, body composition, strength, low body fat, it's like a bank balance, right, on your health. The older you get, what happens to, like, old age pensioners, a lot of the problems come because they get weak, fragile. If they have a fall, they break a bone, break a hip, whatever. It's down to, it's like a bank balance. The more strength and mobility to some extent that you can retain for longer in your life, it's just prolonging out the strength of your physical structure, because it will, your strength will go as you get older. So it's like a bank balance, it's like an investment, it's worth doing. And also the low body fat thing, obviously, all the biggest, if you think about all the biggest killers, like big diseases, they're all based on body inflammation. That's all people that have, screwed up the blood sugars and all the rest of it. So you ought to be considering that as well. All right, I'm going to shoot. I've got some work to do. Go and check out my diet plans and recipes. And yeah, see you all next time.